Hello, welcome to our webinar, How to Succeed in a Marketing Career Job Search. We are excited to have you there. If you are a returning webinar attendee, welcome back. If this is your first webinar, thank you so much for joining us. We are excited to have everyone here. And while we're getting settled and everybody is logging in to Big Marker, while you get situated, feel free to let us know where you're joining from in the chat section. It's always fun for the coaches who are presenting, but also the attendees who are here to see where everybody is from. So if you'd like to share that, that's great. While we're giving everyone a minute to get situated, I want to cover a couple of key housekeeping items that will be helpful for you to know as we go through this content. You don't have to take notes while you're listening to the webinar unless you really want to, but we are going to send this recorded presentation with a link to any of the resources that we have shared to the email address that you used to register for our event today. So you should have that within about a week. Also, in terms of the recording, this presentation has actually been pre-recorded, but the Q&A that follows is live with a career coach, a member of the career coaching team at FlexJobs. So with that being said, because we have a live Q&A, please make sure you put the question or any question that you have into the Q&A section of Big Marker rather than the chat section, because this really helps the coaches keep track of all of the questions in one place. We work really hard to answer all of the questions, or as many as we can, because we can't often get to all of them with the time that we have. So please put those questions there. We'll prioritize them. And we guarantee that you will learn something from the questions that are asked and that we do answer. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to discuss today. So first and foremost, we'll talk about different types of marketing jobs. We'll talk about how to land a job in the marketing field, how to put together a portfolio and if you actually need one. And of course, a really important part of this is how to update your resume so that you can set yourself apart from the other candidates who apply to these roles. And then we'll go through our live audience Q&A with one of the coaches, and you can see all the coaches here on the slide. Okay, so marketing jobs. I wanted to share this with you, that marketing is the second top career category for remote jobs in 2022. At FlexJobs, we actually saw an almost 30% increase in marketing job postings in 2022. So before we go into different marketing job titles, let's talk about what marketing actually is. And this is according to the American Marketing Association. Their definition of marketing is this: marketing is the activity, set of institutions, and process for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. So what does that mean? That means as a marketing professional, no matter which area of marketing you are in, your goal is to show the value of the offering to the users. Okay, so here are some different marketing areas in terms of career paths that you could have. So as I alluded to in the last slide, in the marketing career category, there are many different career paths that you can take. So it's actually pretty complex because marketing has a research component to it, where essentially you are researching, finding information so that you can help drive data-driven marketing recommendations. There's also a strategy arm of marketing where you, in this type of job, would plan and execute strategic campaigns that generate awareness, brand awareness, and sales. Of course, marketing has a visual and design component where stories are told, visual mediums are used, and assets are created that will support the visual needs of the product, of the offering, or of the organization. In addition to visual content, you can be a writer or in a writing field within marketing where you're producing content for both print and digital marketing channels that help exemplify and engage others with the brand voice. Social is another marketing area, which is content driven. Social marketers generate, publish content that help garner attention and propels conversation through social media. Different channels there are multiple. And events. So there are events that fall under the marketing arm or that will help put together experiences that drive brand visibility, any media attention, and customer engagement. So while there are many different career paths, so you can be a part of one of these areas and have a marketing career. So the creative arm of marketing, which is really content production, like writing, design, graphic design, and social planning events is another arm. And then the research strategy component of it as well is, sort of more data driven. I wanted to share some job titles or even job phrases that are commonly found in marketing roles. And these are job titles and marketing roles that we've seen on the FlexJobs site at one time or another. Any role that requires research or analysis, if you are looking like at a market research analyst position or a digital marketing analyst, you want to be comfortable handling data, analyzing trends, and also analyzing consumer behavior because you're going to make decisions based on the data that you have. In terms of the creative side, you got it. Creativity is a must. So graphic design, even social media marketing manager or product marketing manager, brand manager, creativity is a must. If there's written requirements for the role, being an excellent writer who is able to capture the voice, and if you are someone who can tell engaging stories, that's a really critical key skill for the types of creative roles you'll find in marketing. Creativity in design, visual storytelling with graphic design are key skills, as well as meeting deadlines and working well in fast-paced environments, or, you're deadline driven. When we think about social media and digital roles within the marketing career field, understanding things like Google Analytics, how SEO works, and understanding how to strategize to drive people to the product or to the offering are critical skills for those types of roles like search engine optimization, social media marketing manager, and brand manager. Other key skills are problem solving and flexibility. In terms of product and brand marketing, this work requires the individual really has an understanding of the product and then can create messaging around said product to encourage use or purchase. Another key component to these types of roles are budget management and CRM experience. That's very helpful, and that is customer relationship management. And there are multiple tools out there that can manage those relationships, those customer relationships. Marketing manager jobs. I wanted to share some other job titles. So management roles could include marketing product manager, marketing manager, product marketing manager, and marketing automation manager. And sometimes these roles will have supervisory responsibilities, and sometimes they don't. Like in this marketing automation manager, the job posting says, part of it says, looking for a marketing automation manager to find new and meaningful ways to use automation to engage with our prospects and customers throughout their customer life cycle. So that is, just one example, a brief introduction to the job posting, and there are many other job postings with these job titles throughout the FlexJobs site. All right. So now we have, kind of a very high level overview of the types of job titles or job phrases you can be looking for when pursuing a marketing career, but how do you actually land a job in the marketing career field? All right. So let's talk about your plan of action. And the first thing that is required is research. I've already shared with you the multiple different areas in the marketing career category. And so you really need to identify what area of marketing would be a good fit for you and which area, appeals to you. What part of marketing do you want to do and why? While you're doing your research, you likely will find companies that interest you. You might also find various thought leaders throughout the industry or in that space. I suggest that you follow those companies, follow those thought leaders on, social channels like LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, everything that you can do to continue to build your arsenal and learn more. Okay. You'll make this list of companies that interest you and then follow them, and that can be the basis for starting to do your networking and informational interviews, because starting a career in marketing or going through a career change in general takes time. And some of the most effective things that you can do include talking to people about what you want to do and why. And so this exercising of your networking muscles is really critical to your action plan. All right. A lot of times we just think, well, we're going to find a job description and we're going to apply for the job. And this is something that when you are looking to get into a specific field, or if you're looking to change into this field without previous experience, you really want to spend some time researching and networking and, layering in some of these strategies before applying to a lot of jobs, because you want to make sure that your efforts are fruitful and progress your job search in the right direction. All right. So when you start networking, start with people friends, family, other professional contacts that you have. Are they clear on what you want to do? Do they know what you're trying to do? Don't be shy about it, because the more people that know in your network, the more people who are looking out for you and who might come across something or someone that would be of interest to you. All right. So that's networking with people with the companies that you followed or the companies that you've identified that you would like to work for or you would like to learn more about. Make a plan to connect with 2 to 4 people maybe who work at that organization, and preferably working in the area of marketing that you are targeting. An additional strategy that not a lot of people know about is taking advantage of the probably thousands of LinkedIn groups that are on the LinkedIn site. You might be able to find digital marketing groups, product marketing groups, social media management groups, marketing groups in general. So when you join a group on LinkedIn, you have a whole other group, for lack of a better word, of people who are interested in the thing that you are interested in. They have resources, they have a network, they may have leads on jobs. And so that's a really important component to expanding your network as well. FlexJobs also has a LinkedIn group, and you can join that group as well to continue to expand and grow your network. All right. Another thing that's important to do is through your networking maybe, or with people that finding a mentor that you can regularly connect with and build a relationship with can really help in terms of your career development and growth. You may start talking to somebody in terms of like an informational interview as a starting point, and that might evolve into a more a relationship that carries on more into a mentorship role. So talking to people who are doing the type of work that you want to do is really one of the best ways to find out if you're on the right track. From that research, if you go back to the start, from the research that you started with and you feel like you've identified an area that you're interested in, when you talk to people, making sure you're asking the right questions and formulating those questions like, what do you like best about this role? What are the challenges within the work that you do? Is it a career field that is growing? Those types of things can really help you learn more to make sure that you are on the right track. And I think as you have started working through this part of your plan of attack, as you're talking with people and learning that information, you'll also be perusing job postings, narrowing your area of focus. One of the things that you can pay attention to are any particular skills or courses or certification that might be required or a bonus for applicants or to get hired into that role. So you might be able to identify and then prioritize any courses or certifications that you might need to or want to take in order to fill in any identified missing skills that you've uncovered through your research and reading of job postings. That's part of it too. Excuse me. And then also in terms of your plan of action, think about freelancing to gain some experience or even volunteering. So remember your network. This is all tied together, as you're probably realizing. Who do you know that is a manager, a business owner, or what businesses do you go to and support in your own community? It's quite possible that some of those people would love some pro bono marketing work, or you might be able to pitch a freelance project with them so that you can start gaining some key experience to be a more competitive applicant to the jobs you apply to. Okay, branding. So all of the action planning that we just talked about, is imperative to a successful job search. This is also a great segue into talking about branding and what branding activities you want to have on your to-do list as well. We're going to discuss how to update your resume for these types of jobs in some subsequent slides. So that definitely needs to be on your list, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. If you have been networking, it's likely that you've started to update your digital profiles and your digital footprint that you have online, but you want to make sure as part of those updates, you are really positioning yourself for the job you want, not the job you currently have. So part of the incredible power of LinkedIn is that the platform uses AI and machine learning to determine what content to show you, and also to determine who on LinkedIn sees your content. So by interacting with the companies you follow, with those thought leaders that you're following as well, and engaging and sharing those posts, even writing your own posts, is going to help you establish yourself as somebody who is interested in marketing. And even further, when you start writing your own posts or sharing, your work, that will help you continue to set yourself apart as an expert in the particular area that you are trying to find a job in. And it will help you build your personal brand, and it will be one that is trusted. All right. I briefly mentioned on the previous slide volunteering and pro bono work. But there is also another way to build your experience and your repertoire, as we say sometimes, and that is to start a blog. This can help you showcase your work and increase your visibility, and that's really helpful as well. And then, of course, you could share your blog post to your different digital channels like Twitter, Instagram and LinkedIn and so on. And there are really a ton of resources online about how to get started blogging. And so if that's something that is needed or valuable for the type of marketing that you're looking for, particularly those content-driven marketing categories, that might be something that you want to commit to doing or starting as you're going through your job search. All right. We get asked a lot of time on the career coaching team if it's important to have a portfolio for certain jobs. And for certain jobs, the answer is definitely yes. So some areas in the marketing field really would benefit from having a portfolio. In fact, you might even read some job postings that require you to include a portfolio or sample work. So like your personal branding exercises and establishing, a brand, a portfolio should show your value. It's visual proof, essentially, of what you can bring to the table, what you bring as an expertise to clients and employers. And portfolios are particularly useful and important for the creative side of marketing, as I mentioned, and even event planning. There can be a space and a place of importance for portfolios as well, because you can have some visual proof of the events that you have produced or executed. In your portfolio, you definitely want to include an about section. I think I mentioned work samples briefly, and of course, your contact information. Now, it's a balancing act in a portfolio, because as you're sharing your portfolio to clients and employers or potential employers, you want to balance sharing enough information, but not too much, and not enough information. And so it's definitely a practice that you will have to get used to and continually be updating your portfolio. And when I say updating, sometimes that might mean adding a new project, but removing something that maybe isn't quite as relevant, because you want to make sure that the context is there and that your portfolio is showing your value and what you offer in the area that you need or are trying to get to. So making sure that you're doing that, as well as making sure it's current, is pretty important too. All right. So how can we, as we continue to brand ourselves as somebody who is a marketing professional, and we are working on a portfolio if that's required, what do you do to make your resume more marketing friendly? All right. So the first thing I want everyone to think about is transferable skills can really help you land any job or your next job, whatever that is, even if you don't have the exact experience a job description is asking for. At FlexJobs on the career coaching team, we recommend that if you match 60 to 70% of the qualifications asked for in a job posting, you should consider applying. You can probably put together a really competitive application if you meet at least 60% of the criteria. A job description, which sometimes is a list of requirements or qualifications. It really is something that an employer puts together that's a wish list. Most employers recognize and understand that they will likely not find somebody to hire who meets every single qualification and is also a really good fit for the team and the organization. They understand that. And so you don't have to have all of the qualifications in order to apply for a job. Interestingly, women especially hold themselves back from applying to jobs where they don't meet all of the criteria. And LinkedIn actually did a report on gender and job searching, and found that while both genders browse jobs similarly, they apply to them differently. Again, women feel they need to meet 100% of the criteria, and that is not the case for the male gender. Usually they apply after meeting about 60% of the qualifications. On the other hand, women are 16% more likely to get hired after applying for a job when they are applying for more senior roles. So there's just some interesting things there. And we share that with you just so you know that it's okay and it's good. And I've seen job postings lately that will say, we know that you might not meet all of the qualifications. If you feel like you'd be a good fit for this role, please apply. And so we encourage you to do that. And keeping in mind that transferable skills that might be relevant in marketing roles and getting those on your resume can be really critical to helping paint the picture of making that transition or getting into this career field. So things like, I mentioned some of these: problem solving, being analytical, writing, having a creative mindset, managing projects, and communication skills. So make sure that you can then illustrate these on your resume, and don't forget about your cover letter. So think of projects, skills, accomplishments that highlight your specific transferable skills and work to communicate those, particularly those transferable skills that you notice in the job posting. Then you can also think about how you would talk about this in a job interview once you start interviewing. So the top of your resume should be a profile summary. Sometimes you'll see these called summary of qualifications or qualifications and key skills. There's some different variations. Whatever it is labeled, this is the part of your resume where you will highlight the skills you have that match what the job description is looking for. You'll see on the following examples that these summaries aren't necessarily from seasoned marketing professionals. Rather, there is a highlighting of key skills and transferable skills to call out the strengths brought to the role. So if we look at this first one, it says experienced marketing and social media strategist with 5+ years of remote work experience. Trusted marketing specialist focused on helping companies tell their stories and expand their audiences. Approachable, friendly teammate and leader skilled at planning, organizing, communicating, and problem solving. Then what this person did was highlight different marketing skills, different social media skills, and photo and video skills to really capture the skills that they bring to the table for the particular role that they are hiring for. In the technical skills section of the resume, which you should also have, and certainly include remote work tools and tools like Microsoft Office and Google Workspace, you can also include specific marketing and social media and design skills that you have experience with if you do have that experience. And if you remember earlier, I talked a little bit about looking through job postings, and if you identify any missing skills that you might have, you can prioritize which skills you want to learn. Once you kind of capture some of those skills, you can add those to your resume. All right, here's another example for a marketing role: an accomplished communications leader with a passion for strategic thinking and a commitment to collaboration who excels at creating in uncharted waters. Proven track record of building innovating tactical plans resulting in brand awareness growth and influencing key stakeholders to reach target goals. A visionary and implementation expert, consistently creating and executing events, public relations, and multi-channel marketing plans, ensuring integrated and effective communication strategies will deliver the message in a compelling way. So there are definitely some keywords in that profile summary, and in the core competencies or key skills section, you can see things like digital marketing, media relations, print marketing, public relations, problem solving, strategic planning, all key components of marketing work. All right. So what do you do next? Since we've gone through this material, what do you do as we end and you begin or continue your search? Again, I can't emphasize enough the importance of researching and really having a good understanding of what it is you are looking for. Even if you've been job searching for a little while, And if things are not progressing the way you would like, it's okay to go back to the research and brainstorming part of your job search. You always want to evaluate what's working and what's not and revisit those things. So you might need to focus on different things or change a few things, or by uncovering additional research ideas will come to your mind of different approaches you might take. Because a job search, it's really common for a job search to take several months. And if this is a career change or something along those lines, sometimes that can make the job search last a little while longer than that average. And so all of that to say that having a good, solid action plan where you take the time to do some research and talk to some people is important. You definitely want to be consistently updating your materials. And certainly there might be one big project where you get everything updated at first. And then as you go through your job search, of course, your resume is a fluid document. So you will continually be updating that for the work and the roles that you apply for. And of course, I already snuck in some of the execution piece of it, but step 4 would be to continue to update, talk to people, grow your network. All of these things will be done, sort of side by side, so that you can progress your job search as quickly as you can to establish momentum. Okay, so before we dive into the live questions, a copy of this recording, as I mentioned, is going to be emailed within a few days, within the next week. So check the email that you use to register for this presentation. We do always encourage you to go to the FlexJobs blog to find out any additional information for your job search. There are over 4,000 articles there. And I know that obviously that is a lot of articles, but there's just on any topic you would look for in your job search, we have information. So please don't forget about that great resource. Again, please put your questions in the Q&A, and we'll go ahead and head over to the questions right now. Hi, everybody. It's Tony here. Happy to have you. Hopefully that was helpful information for you. We do have a few questions, so I will dive right in to those. I have previous freelance and nonprofit marketing experience. How do I get an interview from employers who prefer marketing agency experience? Well, hopefully the section where we talked about what to put on your resume and your profile summary was helpful. You definitely want to tailor your information to the job that is posted. And certainly agency experience might be one of the requirements for the job or one of the suggested qualifications. However, it's probably not the only one. So make sure that you are highlighting any transferable skills that you have. Also, what I would do is make sure your cover letter does the same thing. And as we talked about at the beginning of the presentation, updating your digital footprint, your digital profile, particularly on LinkedIn, to sort of establish yourself as an expert in that type of area of marketing that you're looking to get into. So it's really a proactive approach that you have to take from multiple different angles in order to be more visible to those employers who think they want somebody with marketing agency experience, but need to see the skills and the successes and the accomplishments that you've had in order to, start the conversations. What is a recommended free portfolio website to showcase your graphics? Your graphic work, but also writing samples? I'm going to include in the chat, and we'll also include this in the resources that we send out. We have some suggested sites for creating a portfolio and, obviously choosing the right platform for presenting your work, is something that you do want to think about. But there are a couple, and from the article, a few that are listed are Behance, Carbon Made, DeviantArt, Dribble, Dunked. Portfolio Box. Portfolio Box says it's offering a slate of tools for graphic designers and other creatives, and it can help creatives showcase their work. So that one might include a writing component as well. I'll let you guys kind of take that link and look at it, and hopefully that will be something that will help you as you decide what is the best portfolio for you to use. All right, let me put this link in one other place really quickly. All right, next question. How important is an education background in marketing? I've been doing marketing for a library for 20 years, but no formal training. Is not knowing general procedure or using acronyms, buzzwords, etc., a detriment? Again, you really want to make sure that you are highlighting and putting forth your main skills that are transferable and relevant to the work that you are applying to do. Again, you don't have to meet all of the qualifications in order to be a competitive applicant for a particular job. So that's all really good. I think that a degree in marketing in most cases is not necessary for a lot of the marketing roles that we see. Now, some that might be non-negotiable for a particular organization or agency, but that's not always the case. If you're finding, and this goes for everybody, but if you're finding that you have skill gaps or you're missing some of the main buzzwords or acronyms, you can create a list of those skills or acronyms that you see most commonly in job postings and prioritize building those skills and learning more about them from that list. FlexJobs does have over 170 skills tests for FlexJobs members. So I would recommend too exploring the skills tests in the marketing area if you want to test your knowledge. So somebody who doesn't necessarily have formal training but has been in the field for a while, those skills tests can really show mastery or knowledge in a certain area without having the particular quote unquote formal training. All right, let's see. I have 3 marketing internships under my belt, a PR internship, a digital marketing specialist internship, and a digital marketing internship. What would be the best path? I think that's path for me. I think that's really up to you. A couple things that I would think about as you're trying to decide. Now, certainly the easy answer to this is which one did you like the best? Which one were you the most successful in? Questions like that. However, certainly when you're looking for a job and need, if you're in a need situation where you need to find a job and maybe you don't have a job right now, one of the things that you want to do is go to the area where there might be the most openings or the most availability for different positions. That's another approach that you can take. If you still are in contact with the organizations and the people who were in charge of you for those internships, this is a really good question for them. If you have a good sense of your strengths and where those strengths are and where you get a lot of traction with those strengths and that kind of thing, that also can give you some clarity on what direction you want to go. Let's see. Regarding the portfolio, my last professional job was as a corporate marketing manager 18 years ago, took a career break. So my professional work with campaign samples is pretty old. I have more current volunteer samples. Should I put it all in? Yeah, I definitely think the current work samples, even for volunteer work, is a must include. Some of your older work, it's hard to say definitively one way or the other. As you know, in marketing, the technology and the visual appearance of things changes. So if it would look dated, you have to kind of wonder, and maybe what you could do is create a new campaign sample based off of maybe one of your older ones so that it looks more current. But certainly great job with having current volunteer samples so that you can start to rebuild that portfolio as you go back to work. If you've been out of the arena of marketing for a few years, is there anything you should do to help fill in the reasoning why you were out of it for a while and want to return to it? Yeah, I think you need to answer that question first personally for yourself. And when you are in a situation on your resume, maybe it's a career break section and you just you stepped out of the workforce to take care of your family or maybe to pursue something different and you're excited and ready to get back into a marketing role. But you definitely want to be able to frame the reason in case the question does come up. And it's okay if you wanted to explore something else. You added skills to your repertoire and figure out a way to talk about and illustrate how that is going to make you a better candidate and a better employee for the marketing type roles that you are looking to get into. For individuals in the Caribbean, what companies hire for digital marketing jobs internationally? So what I would do there is I would search on the site. On FlexJobs in particular, is what the site that I know the best, and I would look for jobs either in the country that you are in or jobs available anywhere in the world. And you can use the term digital marketing or just the marketing career category, and that way you'll find jobs that are available to be done either in your specific country or anywhere in the world. And then you won't have to worry about that job being available wherever you are. All right, here's a question. I always had trouble doing research. Can you recommend a list of questions or a starting point to build on? Let's see. So, first and foremost, when you're starting a job search or trying to figure out what direction you want to go, you want to ask yourself questions like, why am I doing this? What is your why? What would you like to find? And in terms of what would you like to find, maybe asking yourself, I ask this question of my clients a lot, if you could design the perfect job, what would it be? And a lot of times people will say, well, I want to work remotely. I want flexibility in my schedule. I want to be able to travel. And that's all great. But what do you want the work to be like? Where do you feel like you're at your best in the work that you do? Where are you most confident? What do other people tell you you are good at? So those are some questions that will help you, kind of be a little bit introspective and work on figuring out what it is you specifically want. But then you want to ask questions like, what type of manager do I want to work for? What characteristics, will they have? And what type of organization or workplace culture is important to me? Some people like to work in a fast paced, ambiguous environment. They really thrive in those types of settings. Other people would rather be, in an environment where it's a little bit more individual contributor, where it's kind of work at your own pace. And, it's maybe a little bit more introverted where you have your work and you can get that done sort of in a time frame that works for you. So these are some places that you can start in terms of exploring and answering these types of questions so that when you start researching and doing some research on what jobs are out there, what organizations are out there that meet those types of requirements that you have, you will be able to narrow it down. And, believe it or not, you might Google what's the best company for flexible fast paced marketing work and see what you come up with. There's lots of company lists out there. You kind of have to get creative when you're doing your research and spend some time doing it. I think sometimes we get frustrated if we don't find what we think we're looking for right away, but the research process really does take time and intention, and it's important to give it that so that you can help yourself, help your future self find the job that is right for you. All right. Let's see. I have worked on a few entrepreneurial projects and NGO works, mainly digital marketing, sales, project and product management, and I have great people skills and management skills, but I find it difficult getting jobs is my location affecting my job search as one from Ghana, Africa? That could be. So, certainly a lot of job sites, FlexJobs, in particular, is a job site where most of the jobs are located in North America. But there are jobs that are available to be done anywhere in the world, some that are specific to countries in Africa. The same, I think, would be true for other job sites as well. Remote jobs typically do have a location requirement. So that's why you want to look for jobs that are available to be done anywhere in the world. Because that sort of helps you determine or narrow down those jobs that would be out of reach for you based on where you're located. And really, when you are from, a different country or a country where there aren't as many remote opportunities, it's just about managing your expectations for how long it might take to find a job and, how long it might take to find a job in your particular field of interest. And so those are all things that you just want to keep in mind as you're going through this. All right. And I think too, playing up and marketing as a marketer yourself, maybe even as a freelance or project based worker, you can explore that on LinkedIn and as well. All right. We are at our time. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll be back today's Tuesday, tomorrow, with some additional webinar content for you. And I hope everyone has a great afternoon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.